Take a listen at the head of the National Council for the Safeguarding of the Homeland and President of the Republic of Niger, Brigadier General Abdourahmane Chiani, finally give the exact location of subversive French agents in Benin, whose work he says is to plot schemes to destabilize Niger and the other two sister countries of the Alliance of Sahel States, that is Mali and Burkina Faso. This is an interview that he granted to the journalist on August 3, 2024 on the occasion of Niger's 64th Independence Day anniversary, and in which he also expressed hope that Benin will come to its senses and re-establish a brotherly relationship with Niger without any backstabbing. What happened with Benin? I may not elaborate, but it is my duty to tell Nigerians what happened with Benin. And perhaps the glimmer of hope also in the context of our relations with Benin. I say perhaps. On July 30th, when ECOWAS decided to embargo Niger, President Talon called from Abuja to say to stop all loading and all crossing of Nigerian means.
D'interrompre tout chargement, tout franchissement des moyens nigériens. Quand je dis moyens, je veux dire moyens.
When I say means, I mean automotive means that are loaded at the port of Cotonou, loaded from the interior of Niger and which are on the Malanville Bridge border post. Besides, it's the only border we have with Benin. It was from Abuja in Nigeria that he made this decision because it was necessary to punish the Nigerians who dared to take their destiny in their hand,
punir les Nigériens qui ont osé prendre leur destin en main. Tout à fait.
Quite normal as it was for President of Benin that he gives orders even if we think that there was another way of doing things. Or other things to do, which consisted of allowing what is loaded to transit at the port from Cotonou. But it is a sovereign decision taken by a person in charge of a sovereign state. We experienced this total embargo on the side of our border post with Benin. The pipeline in the meantime was working, yes, and was not impacted by the embargo. Until the end of the execution of the pipeline works, no constraints because President Talon had traveled to China to give this guarantee to the Chinese authorities. That he will not hinder it in any way and he will respect the agreements between the Republic of Niger and the Republic of Benin. Who had said that in no case can the pipeline works or the operation of the pipeline be landlocked by one or the other party. The works continued, so despite the embargo, the first boat was loaded. But when the second boat arrived, President Talon suddenly remembered that Niger, in the meantime ECOWAS having lifted the embargo, that Niger had refused to open its border. When they closed the border, we acted. We did not intervene to say that President Talon acted badly.
Le président Talon a mal agi.
When it comes to our security, knowing what we knew and that we still know what was plotted in Benin, precisely through the agents of the French DGSE in Benin.
À travers, justement, les agents de la DGSE française au Bénin, quand les gens parlent de base,
When people talk about a base, they say there is no base, but a subversive destabilization action is not carried out with conventional troops. Otherwise, it would not be a subversive action.
Sinon, ça ne serait pas une action subversive. La subversion, les gars n'ont qu'à
The subversion of the guys just have to consult the dictionary can say in literary terms subversion.
La subversion. Sans parler du domaine des spécialistes.
Not to mention the field of specialists. What does subversion mean?
Donc, le fait de dire
So the fact of saying that there is no base, it is advanced camps to fight against terrorism, but we know what we know.
Nous savons ce qui s'est passé.
We know what happened in Benin. In Benin, automatically, I told you after the ECOWAS decision, President Talon took the measure and the responsibility upon himself to apply the ECOWAS measure to the letter.
D'appliquer à la lettre les mesures de la CEDEAO. C'est un État souverain, je l'ai dit.
It is a sovereign state, I said. It is free to do what it wants. But let us also be given this freedom to protect our country.
Nous savons déjà le 25.
We already know that on the 25th of August 2023, France had jammed 3 superb Puma helicopters from a company whose nationality I will not mention.
Auprès d'une société qui s'appelle Elinka, d'une nationalité que je tairai, c'est Super Puma.
Its great Puma was already on the tarmac at Kandy.
Sur le tarmac de Kandy. Le 26 déjà ils étaient à Kandy.
On the 26th they were already at Kandy.
Pour donner la correction au Niger.
To correct Niger, who dared to say enough is enough.
Trop, c'est trop. En plus de cela,
in addition to that, elements of subversion as they predicted were positioned at Tours International Airport.
Étaient positionnés à l'aéroport international de Tours. C'est même un aéroport international que les Français ont
It is even an international airport that the French have expressly rehabilitated.
expressement.
Oui, toujours au Bénin.
Au Bénin à Tours.
In Benin in Trou.
Et à 7 km.
Trou is 7 kilometers west of Parakou.
Parakou. L'aéroport international de Tours.
Trou International Airport is 6.8 kilometers west of La Tour.
D'accord.
Cet aéroport a été
This airport has been reactivated, renovated, and the French had landed agents with equipment through cargo flights that landed.
agents avec du matériel à travers des vols cargo qui ont atterri. Le premier vol à 2 heures du matin.
With the first flight at 2 in the morning, the second at 3 in the morning, and all landed with equipment because it was necessary to create chaos in Niger.
Il fallait le gré, le compte au Niger. Nous savons que des agents
We know that intelligence agents in civilian clothes were at the GB Hotel in Kandy on the 25th to the 26th of September.
le 25, le 26 du mois de septembre 2023.
2023.
Ils étaient en tenue civile en reconnaissance.
They were in civilian clothes on reconnaissance. They had to recognize the Porgat airfield, which is 2 kilometers 100 meters on the edge of the border, still in the W Park on the edge of the Burkina Faso border.
Toujours dans le parc W, à la lisière de la frontière Bénin-Burkina Faso, 2 kilomètres à
2
l'intérieur.
kilometers inside the W Park on the Benin side, 2 kilometers from the Burkinabe border.
Cet aéroport
It is the Porgat airport and in the hands of the French.
est entre les mains des Français.
D'accord.
Officiellement,
Officially in charge of preserving the park.
Mais vous vous rappelez de cet officier
But you remember this officer of water and forests of Benin, who had raised his voice against the actions that happened in this park through the construction of this track, and you know the fate that was reserved for him.
à travers la réalisation de cette piste. Et vous savez le sort qui lui a été réservé. Donc nous savons, c'est une
So we know
évidence.
it's obvious that this airport, whose coordinates we have, I could say exactly then that these same French intelligence agents were in a village called Alpha Coara, where there is a runway but also of lesser magnitude.
Les agents de renseignement français étaient dans un village qu'on appelle Alpha Coara, où il y a une piste, mais de moindre ampleur également. Nous avons les coordonnées
We have coordinates of this airfield where the French had gone on reconnaissance, always accompanied by French subversive agents.
Accompagné des agents subversifs français. Nous savons que l'école
We know that the normal school
de Kandi,
from Kandy, which was abandoned,
qui a été abandonnée, une école normale abandonnée qui est à la sortie nord
an
de
abandoned normal school which is at the northern exit of Kandy is occupied by these French subversive agents,
français où ils avaient évolué avec
where they had evolved with 10 civil registrations, including from the Dominois administration.
immatriculation civile, notamment de l'administration béninoise. La sécurité de ces gens était assurée
The security of these people was idolized by the Republican police of Benin.
Nous savons également toujours
We also know they're always in their search for points, or positions from which they will destabilize Niger.
vont déstabiliser le Niger. Ces mêmes agents
These same agents carried out a reconnaissance broadcast on the southwest heights of the village that we call Alpha Coara. We know all that, with the precise
village
numbers.
qu'on appelle Madikali. Nous savons tout cela avec les effectifs précis.
Ouais.
Je le rappelle, c'est pas des bataillons, c'est pas des
Yeah,
compagnies.
I remind you, these are not battalions or these are not companions,
Subversifs.
but these are groups of subversive agents who evolved in civilian clothes and with elements of the Beninese armed forces themselves in civilian clothes.
Béninoises eux-mêmes en tenue civile.
D'accord.
Donc nous savions tout ça.
So we knew all that.
Nous savions mieux que ça. Des vols de reconnaissance.
We knew better than that about the reconnaissance flights that the French were doing on a voluntary basis,
Et en prenant souvent les
and often
précautions
taking
pour
precautions
rester
to stay within the territory of the Beninese.
du territoire béninois. Mais comme ils ont une grande capacité de
But
zoom,
since they have a great zoom capability, they could take images,
prendre des
discover
images,
crossing points, discover points of vulnerability, discover our positions.
découvrir des points de vulnérabilité, découvrir nos positions. Mais étant à l'intérieur du Bénin,
But being inside Benin, we cannot act on these elements,
Bien sûr.
of course,
agir contre
nor
ces
action
éléments.
against these
Donc, nous
elements.
savions tout ça.
So we knew all that.
Nous l'avons dit, le Bénin n'a pas semblé nous écouter.
We said it, Benin did not seem to
Les
listen
gens
to
ont
us.
fait
People
des
have been
dilatoires
delaying the issue
pour
by
dire
saying
qu'il n'y a
that there
pas
is
de
no
base,
base, there is no
il n'y a pas
regiment,
de
there is no
régiment,
brigade,
il n'y a pas
there
de
is no battalion.
brigade, il n'y a pas de bataillon. Nous n'avons jamais dit qu'il y a des bataillons.
We have never said that there are battalions,
Des agents
there are agents. Okay, a French
déstabilisation
subversive destabilization inside Benin.
français à l'intérieur du Bénin. Ils ont fait leur relève.
They did their July shift, we follow
Au mois
them.
de juillet, nous les suivons.
D'accord.
Une nouvelle équipe
A new team came, their students took place on July 5th. We know that we know it, and that they stick to saying that we spy on their every
Nous le
move.
savons,
D'accord.
et qu'ils s'en tiennent pour dit que nous épions tous leurs faits et gestes. Ces agents français étaient ceux-là même
These French agents were the same ones who gave direct instructions to the terrorists to empty all the agricultural villages in the Tillabéri
pour
region.
vider tous les villages agricoles de la région de Tillabéri. Ils ont donné des instructions claires.
They gave clear instructions to massacre populations to push them to leave and not to carry out agricultural
Pour les
activities.
pousser à quitter et ne pas exercer d'activité agricole.
Oui.
Nous le savons.
We know that.
Ils ont fait pire que ça.
They have done worse than that,
Mais nous
but we
savons
know all
tout ça
that, and we take all that into account when deciding on the security of the Nigerian
pour
populations.
décider de la sécurité des populations nigériennes.
D'accord.
Le Bénin, le président Talon
Benin
a fait
President
beaucoup de
Talon
campagnes
made a lot of noise about the fact that he had sent an emissary to his brother Chiani, a brother who is being starved because Macron wanted it.
Tchani, un frère qu'on affame parce que Macron l'a voulu,
Oui.
et un frère qu'on pense
And our brother who we
qu'il y
think
a
that there are
encore
still
des liens de
ties of brotherhood
fraternité
with this brother who we
avec
wanted
ce
to
frère qu'on a
destabilize.
voulu déstabiliser. Mais rétablissons les faits.
But let's re-establish the facts.
Je n'ai jamais
Since I have never
parlé de
spoken
ça,
about that, today I
aujourd'hui
will
je
speak
parlerai
about
de
that.
ça. De quoi s'agit-il?
What is it about?
Le 26 du mois
On the 26th of June, the CEO of the China National Oil Company came
le
here to Niamey.
de China National Oil Development Company était venu ici, à Niamey. Je l'ai reçu en audience.
I received him in audience with the ambassador of the People's Republic of China.
Il a émis le vœu
He expressed the wish that a meeting could take place, a tripartite meeting.
lieu une rencontre tripartite. Au moment de l'audience, il y avait le
At the time of the audience, there was the technical advisor on oil, and there was the DGA who was
il
present.
y avait la DGA du OPCO qui était présent. Je les avais instruits de prendre contact avec le ministre
I had
du
instructed him to
pétrole
contact the Minister of Oil to find a date before the 31st date on which this tripartite meeting between Benin, Niger and WAPCO could take place.
entre le Bénin, le Niger et WAPCO pouvait avoir lieu. C'est ce qui a été fait. Déjà, les échanges sont
This is what was done.
le 26,
The discussions
je crois,
started on the
du mois de
26th,
juin.
I believe, of the month of June, and the Minister of Water and Energy of Benin had come as part of this tripartite meeting.
était venu dans le cadre de cette rencontre tripartite. Il se trouvait qu'au moment où il était venu au Niger,
It so happened that at the time he came to Niger, the Prime Minister was away.
le ministre
The Minister of Defense, who was looking after his interests, was away. Unfortunately, the second person in the protocol order who was supposed to act as interim was the Minister of State, Minister of the Interior.
L'intérim était le ministre d'État, ministre de l'Intérieur.
Oui.
Il était couché.
Question, ouais.
He was in bed, lying down. The third was the Minister of Health, who received the Beninese minister at the end of the meeting that had lasted 2 days, 48 hours.
Le ministre béninois, à l'issue de la rencontre qui avait duré 2 jours, 48 heures, dont les images ont circulé.
So the images circulated, were shown on national television, where he said he was satisfied with the mission he had carried out as part of this tripartite
Il
meeting.
avait effectué dans le cadre de cette rencontre tripartite. Tout d'un coup, il a pensé que il est porteur
All of a
d'un
sudden, he
message
thought that he was carrying a
du
message from
président
President Talon to give President Chiani,
président Chiani. Et il a souhaité me rencontrer.
and he wanted to meet me.
Les messages officiels
Official messages are subject to specific processing through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
spécifiques à travers le ministère des Affaires étrangères.
D'accord.
Il aurait fallu qu'ils le disent avant de quitter.
They should have said
le
it
Bénin.
before leaving Benin.
Après la rencontre tripartite,
After the tripartite meeting, he would like to transmit to the President of the National Council for the Safeguarding of the Fatherland a message from his brother President Talon.
de son frère, le président Talon, le ministère des Affaires étrangères lui aurait
The Ministry of
répondu
Foreign
en
Affairs would have
fonction
responded to him according to my schedule.
calendrier.
This is what happened.
Voilà ce qui s'est passé
D'accord.
et voilà la vérité.
And here is the truth, the facts, and it gave rise to an international controversy.
Ça a donné lieu à une polémique
Oui.
internationale, puisque je crois que le président Talon,
Since
était
I
à
believe
l'époque
that President Talon was in Brazil at the
quand
time,
il a fait un tweet pour dire que le méchant président
when he made a tweet to say that the wicked president of the transition of Niger refused to take the fraternal hand that had been extended to him through a message
qui
carrier.
avait été tendu à travers un porteur de messages. Voilà ce qui s'est passé
This is what
et
happened,
ce sont des faits.
and these are facts.
C'est
This
pas
is not a fabric, these are high facts that are verifiable.
et les faits
So all these actions led
sont
both
vérifiables.
parties
Donc, tous ces agissements,
to be each on our guard. Of course,
les deux parties
we have the responsibility for the security of our country.
sur ces gardes.
Bien sûr.
Nous avons la responsabilité de la sécurité de notre pays. Nous avons la
We have the
responsabilité
responsibility for the
sécurité
security of the citizens of Niger. We will take the necessary measures to not answer before God of having betrayed the trust of Nigerians.
ne pas répondre devant Dieu
Oui.
d'avoir trahi la confiance des Nigériens.
D'accord.
Le jour où nous saurons qu'il n'y a
The day we'll know that there is no threat from
du côté
Benin,
du Bénin,
we will take appropriate measures, and we hope through steps that are already initiated on both sides.
nous
I would like to take this
espérons, à
opportunity
travers
to thank President
Et
Soglo and
des
President
démarches déjà
Yeboni,
qui sont
who made the
initiées
trip.
de part et d'autre. Particulièrement, je profite pour remercier
Oui.
le président Soglo et le président Yeboni
Yeboni.
qui ont fait le déplacement,
Tout à fait.
malgré le poids de l'âge, pour venir vers nous.
Despite the weight of age to come to us and ask us to renew the thread of dialogue.
Renouer le fil du dialogue.
D'accord.
Dans la même lancée, nous avons envoyé
In the same vein,
une
we
mission
sent a mission which
qui est
left, led by the Minister of State and Minister of the Interior, and which exchanged, and on its return gave us an update on this mission.
Et au retour, qui nous a fait le point de cette mission. Il y a des perspectives,
D'accord.
mais la sécurité.
There are prospects, but security is the most urgent emergency.
D'accord.
Donc, il y a des perspectives.
Oui.
So there are prospects, recovery but safety first,
Sécurité d'abord.
conditioned by security measures.
Des mesures de sécurité.
D'accord.
C'est une question de responsabilité.
It is a question of responsibility and accountability towards the Nigerian people.
Nigérien.
D'accord.